In a land steeped in history, where every tale is a song of resilience, the story of Maharana Pratap stands as a blazing reminder of our martial roots nourished by the eternal wisdom of the Ramayana. But what gave Pratap the strength to rise again when all seemed lost? What ancient ideals guided his every step, every sword stroke in his fight for dharma? It was the timeless example of Lord Rama, the warrior who fought not for power but for righteousness, that lit an unquenchable flame in Pratap's heart. Join us on a journey to uncover the forgotten lessons of leadership and valor, where Maharana Pratap's indomitable spirit ignited the resurgence of India's Kshatriya's legacy in the face of Akbar's tyranny. It all begins with the devastating third sack of Chittor, a moment that shattered a kingdom but sowed the seeds of a heroic resistance. The year was 1568 and Chittor lay in ruins, its proud fortresses reduced to ash and its people to despair. The third sack of Chittor, led by Akbar's armies, was not just a military defeat, but a spiritual and cultural blow to the Hindu society. The devastation didn't end with the fall of the fort. In an act of unparalleled brutality, Akbar's armies massacred 30,000 unarmed civilians, men, women and children, turning Chittor into a graveyard of hope and faith. The message was clear: resistance would be met with annihilation. But history has shown us that darkness often precedes the dawn. Amidst the ashes of Chittor's despair, two guiding lights emerged, Saint Tulsidas and Maharana Pratap. One wielded the power of words, and the other the sword. Together, they reignited the dormant Kshatriya spirit of India, proving that no tyranny, however absolute, could extinguish the flame of dharma. The Mewari Rajputs had been the sword arm of the Hindu society, and Pratap, their natural leader, bore the burden of a nation's hopes. But the third sack of Chittor left him shattered. The loss of his closest comrades, Jaimal and Patta, defenders of Chittor's honor, created a void that even his indomitable spirit struggled to fill. As his sword faltered, a divine wave of bhakti and valor reached him. Tulsidas' Ramcharitmanas, whose verses carried the essence of Lord Rama's courage, leadership, and unyielding devotion to dharma. These couplets infused Pratap with renewed energy, galvanizing him into action and forging his resolve to reclaim his homeland and honor. Just as Lord Rama's natural piety, sense of justice, and unyielding courage inspired the loyalty of the Vanaras, especially Hanuman, Maharana Pratap's leadership qualities drew unwavering devotion from those around him. Rama's ability to unite the fragmented Vanaras into a formidable force, rooted in their shared values of dharma and justice, became a blueprint for Pratap as he rebuilt the military power of Mewar. Pratap's courage and his adherence to the Rajput code of honor, even after the devastating loss of Chittor, reignited the fighting spirit of his people. His unwavering dedication to Mewar and its heritage earned him the loyalty of the nobility, the army and the masses. When Uday Singh, under the influence of his young queen Rani Bhatyani, disinherited Pratap in favor of his younger stepbrother Chakmal, the nobility of Mewar intervened, refusing to let the throne fall into the wrong hands. They removed Chakmal and crowned Pratap as the rightful king of Mewar, reaffirming their faith in his leadership. But Pratap's most remarkable achievement was his ability to bridge caste and community divides, uniting even the Bhils of the Aravalli mountains under his banner. The Bhils, renowned for their guerrilla warfare tactics, became Pratap's trusted allies, fighting with unmatched devotion to reclaim their homeland. When Akbar's emissaries sought to divide them along caste and community lines, the Bhils remained steadfast, angrily dismissing all attempts to weaken their bond with Pratap. Their loyalty wasn't born of compulsion but of profound respect and love for their leader. Just as Shabari's devotion to Rama earned her honor and a place in the divine realm, the Bhils' devotion to Pratap earned them everlasting fame and honor, a place in the Mewar coat of arms. The flame of dharma was thus lit, inspiring their followers and those who came after, creating a martial race that fought untiringly for the next 250 years. As the divine couplets of the Ramcharitmanas resonated within Pratap's soul, they not only fortified his spirit but also drew to him individuals of unparalleled bravery and conviction. Maharana Pratap's dharmic leadership transcended barriers, attracting allies from all walks of life, much like how Lord Rama's character inspired unwavering devotion from his followers. One such figure was Hakim Khan Suri, an Afghan warrior of noble lineage and a descendant of Sher Shah Suri. Though differing in faith, Hakim Khan saw in Pratap a leader who embodied the values of justice and honor. Choosing dharma over loyalty to the Mughal throne, Hakim Khan pledged his life to Pratap's cause, fighting shoulder to shoulder with the Mewar forces against Akbar's tyranny. At the decisive battle of Haldi Ghati, Hakim Khan Suri's devotion to Pratap and Mewar reached its zenith. In the face of overwhelming odds, he led the Mewar vanguard with unmatched valor. When the tide of the battle turned against them, Hakim Khan refused to retreat. He fought fiercely to protect Pratap, holding the enemy at bay to ensure his king's safety. In his final moments, surrounded by the Mughal forces, Hakim Khan fell, his blood mingling with the storm of Mewar, forever sealing his place in the annals of history as a martyr who gave his life for a cause greater than himself. But this was not the end, rather the beginning of the end for the Mughal designs in Mewar and Rajputana. As the Maharana's spirit soared, inspired by the divine teachings of the Ramcharitmanas, his cause began to draw not only warriors of noble lineage, but also those who have been marginalized and forgotten. Among them was Rana Punjab Hill, the revered leader of the Bhil tribes who dwelled deep within the forests and the mountains of Mewar. If Maharana Pratap embodied Lord Rama's leadership and dharma, then Rana Punjab Hill was his Hanuman, a loyal and indispensable ally, whose courage and ingenuity turned the tide of many battles. Just as Hanuman's strength, intellect and flying prowess were pivotal in locating Sita and protecting Lord Rama's forces, Rana Punja's mastery of the rugged terrains of the Aravallis and his unwavering devotion to Pratap became the backbone of Mewar's heroic fight back in the post-Haldi Ghati period. After the grueling battle of Haldi Ghati, where Hakim Khan Suri laid down his life in a heroic stand to shield Pratap's retreat, it was Rana Punja and his Bhil warriors who rejuvenated Pratap's army. Much like Hanuman rallying the Vanaras after setbacks in Lord Rama's campaign, Rana Punja and his men became the spirit that refused to surrender. Their guerrilla tactics, honed through generations of living in the Aravalli forests, became a deadly force against the Mughals. Hanuman's daring feat of breaching Ravana's impenetrable defenses in Lanka to find Sita became a timeless inspiration, mirrored in Rana Punja's unmatched skill in gathering intelligence and guiding Pratap's forces through the shadows, striking decisive blows against the oppressive tyranny of the Mughals. The Bhils, adept at blending into the landscape, tracked Mughal troop movements with precision, feeding Pratap the critical intel that allowed him to dictate the terms of engagement. Like the steely wrath of Hanuman's mace striking fear into Ravana's army, the Bhils delivered swift and crushing blows to the Mughals, striking at supply lines, destroying morale, and ensuring that the invaders never felt secure in the heart of Mewar. The Mughals, despite their overwhelming numbers and resources, found themselves outmaneuvered and demoralized. In over 80% of the skirmishes, Pratap's forces determined the time and place of the attack, showcasing a level of tactical superiority that frustrated Akbar's commanders. Even Akbar himself, seated on the peacock throne in Agra, could feel the heat of Pratap's campaign searing through his imperial ambitions. Much as Lord Rama depended on Hanuman to inspire and protect his forces, Pratap's trust in Rana Punja was absolute. The Bhils under Punja's leadership shielded not just Pratap's family and his subjects, but also the very soul of Mewar. Their fierce loyalty transcended caste and creed, embodying the spirit of dharma. With every ambush and every victorious skirmish, the Bhils proved that the flames of resistance burned brightest in the hearts of those who knew their land and loved it with unyielding fervor. Through the courage of warriors like Rana Punja Bhil and the divine inspiration of the Ramcharitmanas, Pratap stood tall as a beacon of hope, proving that no empire, however mighty, could extinguish the light of dharma and the Kshatriya spirit of India. As the echoes of the Ramcharitmanas spread across the rugged hills of Mewar, its verses breathed life into a battered yet unyielding society. Maharana Pratap, drawing from its sacred lines, became a living embodiment of Lord Rama, a beacon of dharma, justice, and unwavering resolve. Just as Lord Rama found steadfast allies in Sugriva and Angada, so too did Pratap find his unwavering companions in Bhama Shah and his younger brother, Tarachand. Bhama Shah, a man of both intellect and valor, watched as Mewar teetered on the edge of collapse. Pratap's resistance against the Mughal juggernaut was relentless, but weighed down by scarcity of men, arms, and most critically, resources. At this moment, Bhama Shah's devotion ignited. Inspired by Sugriva's example in the Ramcharitmanas, who surrendered his entire kingdom and army to Lord Rama, Bhama Shah offered Pratap his family's vast wealth. His words, recorded in legend, echoed the spirit of the Ramayana. This wealth belongs not to me, but to Mewar and to Dharma. Take it, Maharana, and let no tyrant ever extinguish the flame of our honor. This act of sacrifice was not mere generosity, it was a revolution. Bhama Shah's treasure became the lifeblood of Pratap's resurgence, funding the rebuilding of his army, equipping his men, and breathing new life into the fight for Mewar's independence. But the story did not end with Bhama Shah. Like Angada, whose fiery defiance left Ravana and his court humiliated, Tarachand, Bhama Shah's younger brother, carried the legacy forward. The Mughal Emperor Akbar had proclaimed his empire unshakable, his might invincible. Tarachand, inspired by the Ramcharitmanas and Angada's example, decided to expose the hollowness in this post. Leading a daring raid into the prosperous Mughal province of Malwa, Tarachand wielded fire and sword with precision. Like Angada crashing into the enemy, that campaign shattered and they his men looted the wealth that funded the empire's tyranny, delivering a blow so resounding that even the mighty Akbar felt the tremors in Agra. When news of this victory reached Pratap, it was said that he folded his hands in prayer, whispering, "Lord Rama's warriors live again, not in Ayodhya, but in Mewar." The words of the Ramcharitmanas have become flesh and blood in these brave souls. Bhama Shah's devotion and Tarachand's audacity proved that a society rooted in dharma would never truly be defeated. Their sacrifices mirrored the valor of Sugriva and Angada, while their faith in Pratap as the torchbearer of Lord Rama's ideals rallied an entire kingdom. Together they carried forward the eternal flame of the Ramcharitmanas, illuminating the path to freedom against the darkness of Mughal tyranny. While Pratap struggles drew strength from the resilience of his people and the wisdom of the Ramcharitmanas, the devotion he inspired extended beyond human bounds. One name shines bright as the symbol of unwavering loyalty, a name that stands shoulder to shoulder with the greatest heroes of the saga, Chetak, his trusted steed. It is said that the divine threads of the Ramcharitmanas wove not just through the hearts of men, but also through the very fabric of the life that surrounded them. Among these threads was the story of Jatayu, the valiant bird who gave up his life trying to protect Sita from the clutches of Ravana. His devotion to Rama was so profound, so unshakable, that it became the ultimate expression of bhakti. Chetak was a living embodiment of this eternal bhakti, a mirror of Jatayu's spirit. When Pratap led his men into the fiery chaos of Haldi Ghati, Chetak was not just a steed, he was a companion, a confidant, a warrior in his own right. With every gallop, he carried not just Pratap, but the weight of Mewar's honor and freedom on his back. In the moment that would define eternity, as Pratap, surrounded by Mughal forces, found himself in mortal peril, it was Chetak who leaped into action. A feat that defied belief, he carried his master across the battlefield, away from the jaws of death. But not without cost. An enemy blade struck deep, wounding Chetak gravely. But even with his life slipping away, he surged forward, vaulting across a river to deliver Pratap to safety. Only when he was certain that his master was beyond harm did this noble soul collapse. Chetak's martyrdom echoes the sacrifice of Jatayu, a life given selflessly in the service of dharma. Just as Jatayu's last breath was spent in Rama's service, Chetak's last gallop was for Pratap and the sacred land of Mewar. Such devotion cannot merely be born, it must be inspired by a higher power, by the divinity that emanates from the verses of the Ramcharitmanas. This sacred text, which instilled valor and dharma in men like Pratap, also extended its divine touch to beings like Chetak, who transcended the earthly bounds of loyalty and entered the realm of the eternal. Chetak's ultimate sacrifice was not just for Pratap, but for Mewar, for dharma, and for the hope of freedom. It was this unwavering loyalty, this indomitable spirit, that Pratap carried with him as he rose again, leading his forces to the momentous victory at Dewair. At Dewair, Pratap's honor, his legacy, and the hopes of Mewar were redeemed by his even more valorous son, Amar Singh. Like a seed nurtured by the sacrifices of his father and the faith of Mewar's warriors, Amar Singh would bloom into a warrior who carried forward the unyielding spirit of his lineage. As Lakshmana stood unwavering by Lord Rama's side in exile, so too did Amar Singh stand as the steadfast protector of Mewar, carrying forward his father's unyielding fight for freedom and honor. Purified by the Ramcharitmanas, the Rajputs saw a reflection of Lakshmana's unshakable resolve in Amar Singh, heir to the throne and the future of the empire. But how does a son repay a father whose very life is a testament to sacrifice? Amar Singh found his answer, not in words, but in action. He would be the sword arm of his father's dreams, just as Lakshmana was to Rama. The defining moment of Amar Singh's life came during the Battle of Dewair in 1582, a battle that would alter the course of history and etch his name among the greatest warriors of Bharat. After years of conflict, the tide of the war turned in the favor of Mewar, not through sheer numbers, but through the indomitable courage of Amar Singh and his men. The stage was set at Dewair. The Mughal forces, led by the ruthless Sultan Khan, came face to face with Amar Singh's army. As the armies clashed, the battlefield transformed into a storm of chaos. Clanging steel, shouts of warriors, and the cries of the wounded echoed across the valley. Amid this chaos, Amar Singh emerged, his presence commanding and his purpose clear, with Rama's name on his lips and his father's honor in his heart. Then came the moment of reckoning. Sultan Khan, towering on his warhorse, sought to break Amar Singh's line. The Veer Vinod, the legendary chronicle of Mewar's history, describes the moment with unparalleled poignancy. As the Mughal cavalry thundered forward, Amar Singh's spear gleamed like a lightning thunderbolt. With a single decisive throw, he impaled Sultan Khan, piercing not only his enemy's heart, but also the morale of the Mughal army. In that moment, Amar Singh became the Lakshmana of his age, his ferocity of the battlefield unmatched, his devotion to dharma unwavering. Just as Lakshmana's slaying of Indrajit marked the turning point in Lord Rama's war, Amar Singh's triumph at Dewair was a decisive blow to Mughal tyranny. The Rajputs of Mewar rallied behind the young prince, their hearts swelling with pride and their spirits reignited with hope. Victory comes to those who uphold dharma. The rest are consumed like moths in a flame. These cries rang out throughout the battlefield. The Mughal army, witnessing their commanders fall, faltered. What was once their confidence turned into chaos. Amar Singh pressed forward, leading his men with unmatched courage, reclaiming Dewair in a victory that echoed across Hindustan. This was not just a victory on the battlefield, it was a vindication of the ideals of honor, justice and valor that the Ramcharitmanas preached. As the sun set over the blood-soaked fields of Dewair, the Rajputs of Mewar stood tall, knowing that the fight was far from over, but their spirits were invincible. Yet behind this triumph and the unwavering resolve of Amar Singh stood a force as powerful as the sword, Maharani Ajabde Punwar. Like the guiding light of the Ramcharitmanas, she was the soul of Mewar's resurgence, the Sita to Pratap's Rama, shaping the destiny of a fractured kingdom into one of resilience and hope. Much like Sita's unwavering devotion during Rama's exile, Ajabde became Pratap's companion in his years of wandering and struggle. She shared his pain, dreams, and resolve to recover Mewar's honor. Ajabde's strength wasn't confined to quiet endurance. She molded Mewar's future through her wisdom and nurturing spirit. Her son Amar Singh, whose valor we have already glimpsed at Dewair, grew up under her careful guidance. The loyalty Amar commanded from his brothers and the unity that held Mewar together in its darkest hours were testaments to her vision and unshakable dedication to dharma. But like Sita's departure shook the very foundations of Lord Rama's heart, so did Ajabde's passing leave Maharana Pratap shattered. She was his anchor, his confidant, his guiding star. The warrior who could endure exile, battles and betrayal was broken by the loss of his queen. Her absence marked the twilight of his life, yet he pressed on, much like Rama, carrying the burden of his duties to the very end. Pratap lived to see Amar Singh rise as Mewar's Lakshmana, a warrior whose spear at Dewair ended the curse of the Mughal occupation of Mewar. It was as though Ajabde's nurturing spirit flowed through him, ensuring that her sacrifices bore fruit in the liberation of their homeland. As the dust of time settles over the battlefields of history, the spirit of Maharana Pratap, the loyalty of Chetak, and the wisdom of the Ramcharitmanas call out to us. These are not mere tales, they are living testaments to the sacrifices that made us who we are. Chetak just didn't gallop into legend, he raced into eternity, carrying his wounded master to safety, his last breath a silent hymn of devotion. Maharana Pratap didn't just fight a war, he waged a battle for the soul of this nation, refusing to kneel before tyranny. And the Ramcharitmanas didn't just inspire, it awakened a slumbering civilization, lighting a fire that burns in us even today. But the question remains, do we still carry that fire? Do we still honor that sacrifice, or have we let it fade, swallowed by the darkness of indifference? If these stories have touched something deep within you, if they have rekindled even a spark of that lost pride, then don't let it die. Let this be the moment we reclaim what was ours, the spirit, the honor, the dharma. Subscribe to this channel because the journey doesn't end here. Rather, this is just the beginning. In our next chapter, we will honor Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, the beacon of Hindavi Swaraj, who carried forward the legacy of dharma against all odds under the spiritual guidance of Samarth Ramdas. Together, let's revive the stories that built this land and make them resonate once more in our hearts and homes. This is not just history, it's who we are, and it's time we remembered.